Hi guys, my name is Pankaj Godwani and I carry 14 plus years of experience training students on various exams. That means I've spent genuinely unreasonable time explaining students the difference between a conclusion and an inference. And अब तो मेरी family ने भी पूछना छोड़ दिया कि भैया तुम करते क्या हो work पे. But nevertheless, I have with me Shazli ma'am. So Shazli ma'am, over to you.
Hello, students. I'm Shazli from Top Rankers and I have been teaching for the last 19 years. That means probably my experience is more than your age, but I'm still young at heart.
So we have come here to, decode CLAT exam for all of you. So Shazli ma'am, मेरे पास यहाँ पे आपके लिए कुछ questions हैं and my students keep telling me कि सर इसका आंसर क्या होगा, इसका आंसर क्या होगा. मैंने बोला यार मैं आज तुम लोगों के लिए ये प्रॉब्लम जो है सॉल्व कर ही देता हूँ. So आई एम सॉरी बट मैं आज आपको परेशान करने वाला हूँ कुछ क्वेश्चंस के साथ.
Sir, before you go ahead, I just would like to make a small confession. I too ask a lot of questions. So you be ready for that.
All right, ma'am. All right.
So, sir, before we go ahead, I think we should go with the policy that ladies first. So I should be the first one asking you a question.
मैम मैंने बोला तो नहीं but ठीक है, we go by your policy.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, I have a question which generally students have. The first question, what does CLAT test and what does CLAT does not test?
As far as this exam is concerned?
Yes.
So ma'am, मैं अपना आंसर जो है I'll make it very specific to English language. So basically, CLAT, tests your ability to perform under pressure. Because there's an invisible clock that constantly keeps ticking on your mind, and in that time limit you have to read some passages and you have to solve some questions. Answers to all those questions lie in those passages only. Now as far as the difference is concerned, school studies generally prepare us to use this language. वहाँ पे वो लोग हमको ग्रामर भी पढ़ाते हैं, वोकैबुलरी के सेशंस होते हैं, दे टेक अस थ्रू पोम्स, दे टीच वेरियस काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स प्रिपेयर अस फॉर यूजिंग द लैंग्वेज. बट यहाँ पे CLAT actually tests us. The consortium wants us to reason with the language, the passage that has been given to us. वो reasoning कैसे होती है? A lot of those things are supposed to be, understood. They are not given to you directly in the passages. You have to read between the lines. So questions जो आपके सामने आते हैं, they usually come in the form of conclusions, inferences. Sometimes they also test you on the basis of tones. They want to know what author's profession is. So all those things are never never mentioned in the passage. They are only implied, and you understand कि okay ये सारी चीजें मेरे को दे रखी है, इसके बेसिस पे क्या राइट आंसर हो सकता है. एंड माइंड इट, जो दूसरे 3 ऑप्शंस होते हैं, they are not very far from the right answer. Okay. And they actually confuse you कि अच्छा ये होना चाहिए या फिर ये होना चाहिए. A lot of students are able to eliminate 2 easy options, but 2 जगहों पे आके वो फंस जाते हैं, 2 options के साथ वो juggle करते हैं. And all these things happen in a fixed, you have to do all these things in fixed time. तो ये एक सबसे बड़ा difference है जो school studies में होता है लेकिन यहाँ पे नहीं होता. And CLAT आपको इस तरीके से test करता है.
All right. Sir, you answered it correctly because I think students have this misconception whenever they come for any coaching class, for any examination, they have this notion that English is quite easy. Probably they are able to solve the questions at school. And usually they focus only on main subjects rather than language in the school. So probably that's where we teachers, we trainers struggle a lot.
So what happens is, बहुत सारे students बोलते हैं सर इंग्लिश तो मेरा हो जाएगा. ये केवल and you actually put it correctly कि उनको ऐसा फील होता है कि इंग्लिश हो जाएगा, but the moment level of difficulty changes, वहाँ पे scores उनके ड्रॉप हो जाते हैं, and then they come running कि ऐसा हो गया, हमारा तो इंग्लिश बहुत अच्छा जा रहा था, अब ये भी खराब होने लग गया. So the thing is, yes, they fail to understand that school prepares them for something else, but consortium wants them, wants something else from them. consortium wants them to perform well in a fixed set of time, in fixed time, and साथ ही साथ वो कुछ ऐसी चीजें स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो इन्फर कर पाए, कंक्लूड कर पाए, जो क्लियरली दे नहीं रखी है.
That's true.
राइट मैम, मेरे पास भी आपके लिए एक क्वेश्चन है एंड इसी के ही अराउंड है. सो मैं वो क्वेश्चन लिख के आया था ताकि मैं भूल ना जाऊं. सो बेसिकली कई बार स्टूडेंट्स मेरे से पूछते हैं कि सर पहले ऐसा हुआ था, अब ऐसा हुआ. अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स व्हेन दे रेफर टू अर्लियर वर्जन्स ऑफ क्लैट, उनका नॉलेज कुछ ज़्यादा अच्छा नहीं होता बिकॉज सुनी सुनाई बातों पे बहुत सारे लोग तो पास्ट ईयर पेपर्स सॉल्व भी नहीं करते. तो सुनी सुनाई बातों पे उनका ये क्वेश्चन जो है बेस्ड होता है. सो कैन यू एनलाइटन ऑल ऑफ आवर स्टूडेंट्स की क्लैट का एवोल्यूशन कैसा रहा है ओवर ऑल दीज ईयर्स? 2021 से भी आप बताएंगे तो भी चलेगा.
So I've seen 7 seasons of CLAT. Like I will start from there. And that was the time when we expected major change in the CLAT pattern.
Right.
We had been preparing students for vocabulary, foreign phrases, idioms, phrasal verbs, whatnot. All topics of grammar.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden we got to know that it will be only RC which is going to be tested in the examination.
Right.
So that was a kind of challenge for all of us to get our students ready only for, because by then we were telling students that okay, grammar is quite scoring, vocabulary is quite scoring.
Right.
So even if you're not able to perform well in the RCs, try to focus on the other areas.
And to add to the challenges, COVID का period भी चल रहा था उस time पे.
Exactly. And that was a good period, sir. I literally enjoyed a lot because that was the time when I actually got acquainted with the technology. I was handling all the doubts on Telegram. I was constantly talking to my students, boosting their morale. So I think that was the time when we actually got in connection with the students other than the classroom.
Right. And फिर ये paper change भी हमें देखा.
Yes. So I'll just begin with CLAT 2020.
Right.
They gave many passages around literature. They talked about COVID-19, that means current affair of that time, because that was the time when we actually focused on COVID-19, education system, use of internet during your lockdown, especially in education, healthcare system.
Right.
So we actually got many passages around that in 2020, 21 and 22. Every year we got passages around literature, and then we got passages around science and technology. We got passages around economics. One passage was around history in the last 7 years. 2 passages were there which was around philosophy. 3 passages were there which was around psychology. And we got some passages around education, separate as a separate genre. We got, I think, 2 passages around literature. So this is how we catered to our students. And I think Indian context, this is the second most important genre after literature.
Right.
In literature, students focus only on reading novels, but there is more to it than meets the eye. In literature, you have to focus on both fictions and non-fictions. So even if students are not good at reading novels, especially now because we are left with a few months only, so students can focus reading short stories because they need to develop only one skill, that is visual skills. So that is possible even when you start reading novels, and then later you can switch to non-fictions. A little research about different ages of literature, like romantic age, Elizabethan age, Victorian age, classical age. We should actually focus more on discussions around or topics around contemporary authors of specific eras, their favorite themes, the character analysis, the book reviews. That can work wonder for the students.
Right. So one thing that I've understood so far from whatever genres you told every one of us is that there are a couple of passages that may be dedicated to trends during those years. So again, there was a lot of discussion on education during time of pandemic, because all of a sudden we saw a huge shift. People who used to attend schools offline, they had to attend classes online. So obviously there was a passage on education, and there were some passages around pandemic as well. So all those were trends these things were trending during those times. So would this be, or should we assume that this year we may see some passages around trends,
Why not? Why not?
topics that are trending during this, in this year?
You know what, sir? I just would like to share a piece of information. We got one passage around AI and ethical practices around it
Right.
just before the CAT examination. And we took this in the form of CLAT paper, like mock CLAT.
Right.
And we saw the same passage in actual CAT examination. Can you even imagine that? So we are always close to the topics, the most...
Topics that are trending in the
Yes,
year.
of course.
Right. And in addition to, what you told us about passages from literature, both fictional and non-fictional. So yes, your insights are amazing, and they will actually help all the students, prepare on various genres.
I'll give one more example. There was a time when we were talking about cryptocurrency. We got the same passage in actual CLAT.
Yes, there was a passage on cryptocurrency as well. Yeah, so जो भी चीजें trend कर रही हैं, we can expect some passages on that as well. In addition to literature.
That's true, that's true.
Right. So I'm continuing because मैं अभी आपको chance नहीं दे रहा. मेरे पास कुछ और questions भी हैं. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
तो मैं आपको definitely आपके जो questions हैं आप मेरे से पूछेगा.
Sure.
तो यहाँ पे there are a couple of questions that students had put up to me, and I want to put up those questions to you. Is vocabulary still important for CLAT and A-led exam?
Of course. Last year only we got a few questions around vocabulary in actual CLAT itself.
Okay.
So we keep getting contextual vocabulary based question. Now vocabulary should not be confined to high frequency words. I'll cover everything here. I'll talk about foreign phrases. I'll talk about idioms. I'll talk about, like vis-a-vis is a foreign phrase, and that came in A-led exam.
Okay.
And idioms we keep getting every now and then. Contextual vocabulary, RC, tones should not be confined to reading comprehension only, because it is a part of vocabulary.
Right.
Normally students are not able to identify the correct tone only because they are not comfortable with the word and meaning. And there are approximately 300 RC tone words.
Right.
Condescending, turgid, all right, reminiscent.
Right.
So there are many more. And students, at times, they don't know the meaning of those words. So I think vocabulary actually plays a very crucial role. Then we talk about figures of speech. So they asked a few questions around figures of speech in the past as well.
Right.
So vocabulary is something which students should actually be able to learn, and they should learn by some technique, because, I feel that students will not be able to give their 100% to any RC if they are not comfortable with the words used in that specific RC.
Right. So in addition to questions being asked, on vocabulary, it is also important because if you have to, develop 100% comprehension on that particular passage, vocabulary will come very handy.
I'll give one example here. Suppose if the passage is around dystopia, the entire passage is around dystopia. And or utopia, to be a little on a positive side. So if a student doesn't know the meaning of the word,
dystopia,
how would that student be able to comprehend the passage?
Exactly. So in addition to this question, there's another question. Now this question is from my side. How much of vocabulary is good vocabulary?
I think there is no limit, because vocabulary is always uncertain, sir, to be very frank.
Right.
But yes, students should learn approximately 3,000 words, and that's quite possible. If you learn, say, 20 odd words in a day, that should be the target of your daily routine.
Right.
That learning 20 words in a day with different methods, be it etymology, mnemonics, words clustering,
Right.
Vocabulary,
Right.
topic-specific vocabulary. So somewhere you're contributing to enhance your reading skills as well, because you keep targeting yourself for different genres. So at the same time, if you're not comfortable, say, with philosophical terms or terminology which are quite common in economics, how would you be able to fathom the passage then?
Right.
So I think this works
guys,
wonder. I
think Shazli ma'am used a lot of words. One of those words was fathom. So if anybody knows the meaning of fathom, please give us the answer in the chat box. By the way, it's a nice way of telling that you know a lot of words.
Thank you so much, sir. You made my day.
Okay, so we move to the next question. How do you eliminate wrong options in RC?
That's an interesting question. In fact, I would love to answer this question because that's something which students keep asking every now and then. I think the best way is you just write down like you should write down some pointers. For example, what is the focal point of the passage? It should be there in the main idea related question.
Right.
Anything which is contradictory to the passage should be eliminated. Anything which is leading to extrapolation. Extrapolation is you go beyond what is given in the passage.
Right.
So if you go beyond the passage, definitely it is going to be an incorrect answer. Then we have got irrelevant, something which is not even related to the topic, the content given in the passage or the question itself. So that is the odd one out. And
I think there's one option where some information is taken from the passage and it is supplemented with some information which is not in the passage. So the option gets partially correct. And so a student told me, sir, how do we eliminate options? So I told him that if he could show the option that he was talking about. He showed me, and the option followed the same rule. Some of it was taken from the passage and some of it was supplemented with the information which was not there in the passage.
I'll give an example here also, sir. So I just teach via examples. So I have got multiple examples.
Right.
So, sir, one of the students came to me. We had a mock, and that was an extract from that famous author's book, Alchemist. So student is well read, and that student read that novel. So he came to me and asking a question that this can't be the correct answer, because in the book itself, and I have read this book with all that conviction he was telling me, that I have read this book and I'm quite sure about it. Even the chat GPT is saying the same thing. So, sir, again, that was not written anywhere in the passage. That was extrapolation.
Right.
And students need to understand that extrapolation is a crime in CLAT. So just be a little more cautious about it.
In fact, it is one of those things. So you asked me that question, what CLAT tests? So a lot of those options come in the form of extrapolation.
That's true.
Right. And most of these passages don't come from genres or don't come from areas which a CLAT student cannot read. They come from areas that are commonly discussed among CLAT students. So a lot of these students already have developed a lot of pre-thought on these topics.
True that.
And one of those options is definitely among the extrapolations that they are likely to make.
In almost all the questions, you will get one option which is extrapolation.
And that actually aligns with what student thinks.
Exactly. That is a common trap.
That's a common trap. But it does not align with information given in the passage.
And few more points, sir. Like you can actually eliminate the options which is considered to be extreme answer choice using the word like always, never, hardly.
Absolutely.
So those options again are the common traps. Then at times, if the question is around main idea, but one example is being discussed in passage in detail. So that is the supporting idea.
But
so
that is presented as the main idea.
Exactly. And a student again get trapped in those options.
Absolutely.
So these are the common traps. Misleading language.
Misleading language.
I myself committed a blunder while reviewing a particular mock language.
Misleading language.
The entire passage was around landing pad, and in the option it was written a launching pad. So I got trapped. So that happens.
That's a very close one.
That's how the student must be getting trapped.
Yes. So I think you all should work towards all these things. And one thing that you all can do is start making note of all these things. So whenever you do mock analysis, shouldn't they be supposed to note down everything, every kind of mistake that they come across? So if you do that, that's going to help you a lot and it's going to take you a long way in your preparation. Anyway, ma'am, moving to the next one. I'm sure you might be thinking that...
exactly. I was just wondering about it.
But let me have this opportunity, please, ma'am.
Okay.
How do you identify author's tone?
Again, an interesting question. I think students should focus more on vocabulary, especially adverbs and adjectives used in the passage itself. So that is quite hinting towards you the common tones,
Right.
related tones. I think student can have a good practice on tone related questions whenever they come across any editorial or any extract from the novels or anything. So even if there is no question around tone, students should have a ready list of 300 tones, and they should match the tones with the specific lines given there. So that is a good practice. One generic tone for entire article, and one, like, some at times we come across some really good statements, good
Right.
sentences. Could be sarcastic sentence or humorous. So you immediately mark the tone then and there.
So, ma'am, how about telling students the the steps to find out the right tone? Should we? I mean, even I'm considering myself a student when I ask you this question. Should we first try to classify the tone in positive and negative, and then move into nuances, or we directly move into nuances and try to find out the right answer?
Sir, usually this is one thing which people keep suggesting, that divide the tones into 3 tones: positive, negative, and neutral. I'll give you advanced version of it. You should make small clusters, all angry tones together at one place, all harsh tone at one place. Like if I talk about harsh, so harsh,
Castigating,
acrimonious,
cantankerous,
acrimonious, acerbic,
acerbic.
cutting, biting,
Right.
scathing,
Scathing.
vituperative, vitriolic,
Right.
all those tones in one specific cluster. So make small clusters rather than dividing them into 3 different categories.
But aren't we again doing the same thing? If we make small clusters and we put all the positive ones, or maybe appreciating tones, pertaining to appreciative tone in one cluster, and tones pertaining to all the, critical language in one cluster. Aren't we doing the same thing?
No,
Classifying
I'll
them
tell
in
you the
positive and
difference.
negative?
I'll tell you the difference. Normally, student, when they classify those tones in positive, negative, and neutral tone, so they hardly learn the minor differences between all those tones, and that's where they actually get caught in the examination.
Right.
I have seen some questions where they have given the tone like expository, descriptive, argumentative, narrative, and students struggled in identifying the difference between subtle
Expository, descriptive, argument.
Explanatory. Yes. So what is the difference between descriptive and explanatory? Student usually get confused, and at times they don't pay heed to those questions, those words.
So
while solving the
descriptive is
questions.
something where you describe something, but explaining is when you attach yourself to it and you're trying to explain each and
After-
everything.
Yes.
Right.
So that's how. the
And
student-
how is expository different from these two?
Expository is basically revealing or disclosing something which probably we consider that it is unknown. The author is trying
Right.
to expose it to all of us.
Right. So in addition to, or rather, they should understand the nuances, among these words that there are. For example, the difference among expository, explanatory, and descriptive.
Like student keep getting confused between the 2 tones, like satire and sarcasm.
Yes,
And that is a common trap again.
absolutely.
So sarcasm when you target individuals, and satire when you target the group,
Right,
the community.
right.
All right. So that's where, normally satire is a constructive criticism,
Constructive
whereas
criticism.
sarcasm is demeaning.
Demeaning.
insulting.
Yes. That's the I guess the most prominent difference between the two.
So
Yes.
that's the reason. And it's like students feel good when they learn small cluster rather than the entire list of tones. Give them, like chunks of the work. What should I say? I mean, we should actually give them small chunks of works rather than giving them the entire target.
Right. So, ma'am, there's just one last question that I have for you, and then I can pass on the baton to you. So, actually, I am trying to be a little clever here. I have 2 questions combined in one. So, which is the best newspaper for CLAT English language preparation, and what will be your 60-day plan for preparing English language?
I think The Hindu. Why The Hindu? Because I have seen some extracts from that newspaper in the actual exam. So even I think CLAT Consortium's favorite newspaper is also The Hindu. That is the
Yes,
reason
you
they
can say
have
that.
taken, say, a few extracts from The Hindu. I've seen two.
Okay.
So, of course, The Hindu, it gives you opportunity for learning some really good words, high frequency words. And that is one more reason that I keep suggesting my student to go through The Hindu newspaper.
Right.
Other than that, I'll just go for one marketing thing as well, that we keep giving The Hindu analysis early morning, the top rankers.
Right.
So that is also of great weightage when it comes to current affairs. Other than that, I think that 60 days plan.
Ma'am, before we
Students
move to
should
60-day plan, so I have an additional question. A lot of students keep telling me, sir, we keep reading newspapers, yet we don't see our scores improving. So if newspaper is really important for CLAT English language section, why aren't there, or why do these people not see improvement in their scores? What is the reason behind that?
I think students are going ahead with passive reading, not the active one. I have seen you working upon it with the students. Like you ask student to identify the main idea of the passage.
Yes.
At times the judgment, the inference. I have seen you sitting with the students and doing that. That's a great activity. I think that's how the student should be reading newspaper. They should identify the difficult words. That should be the target for the day. 20 days, 20 words in a day. So those are high frequency words. Why are you searching here and there? It's better if you can refer to the newspaper itself.
Right.
And reading newspaper is important because I have seen some passages around the same. I think in class 2020 or 23, I saw one passage around water mafia. That was probably an extract from The Hindu kind of editorials.
Right.
I mean, that's what I assume. I felt that. So that was a good passage, and that was a difficult passage for the students because they asked a few questions around vocabulary as well.
Right.
So I think The Hindu is really a good newspaper, and students should read every day in order to be comfortable with the second most important genre for English language, that is Indian context.
So, ma'am, are there any other sources in addition to newspapers students can refer to in order to get a variety of passages or variety of texts to read?
See, the most important genre is literature. So short stories and LitHub. LitHub is a
LitHub.
beautiful website covering so many non-fiction kind of articles as well.
And is it easily accessible?
Yes.
Okay.
Second is newspaper, because Indian context is important. Indiatogether.org is another beautiful website for Indian context.
Right.
Student feel uncomfortable with philosophy, so I think Philosophy Now is a good website.
And how about these sources, Down to Earth, The Atlantic, Guardian?
They are beautiful. Sir, I have seen some passages from extracts in the actual examination from The Atlantic. I have also seen one extract from Aeon.
Aeon, yes.
It's a good website.
CLAT
Normally-
also tests a lot of passages from Aeon, from the Aeon.
The problem is that students feel that the articles are so lengthy, so they avoid reading anything from
Right.
there. But I think they are good source, because if you want to keep yourself updated, that means you have to have prior knowledge of different genres. So for prior knowledge, reading the article of around 2000 word, that itself should suffice the need. So every day one article from Aeon and then refer to other sources, that's going to be a good combination.
Right.
Then we have The Wire, The Walrus, The Scientific American, The Economic Times, multiple sources.
Right. And I think all of these can be, you cannot just put one over the other. All of them
Exactly.
are equally good.
Exactly.
Right. And ma'am, what about 60-day plan for anyone who's preparing for English language?
Read as much as possible, 20 words in a day, that
Right.
too with some technique. If you don't learn with techniques, then that means you're going to forget the meanings of those words.
Right.
You tend to forget the meaning of those words.
Right.
So I think you should use mnemonics, clusters.
I also tell students, if they have girlfriends or if any girls have boyfriends, I tell them to talk to them, in English language.
That's true. That is the cheapest way of impressing your girlfriend and boyfriend, to be very frank with you.
Not exactly.
That's how my husband actually approached me. When he got to know that I'm an English teacher, So he began his conversation with me, the very first conversation, with some really good words, GRE words. So
Okay. And what other things can students do in order to prepare for this section?
I think, sir, students should target the genre which is quite challenging for them.
Right.
That means they need to challenge themselves. They need to challenge their reading skills. So they should read more often of the genre where they actually get trapped. Suppose if I'm not comfortable with economics, so I should be reading more often around economics.
Right.
If I'm not comfortable with science and technology, and that's true. Science and technology was something I never enjoyed reading. Till the time I joined top rankers, I never enjoyed reading anything around that. But when I started taking mock analysis of mock CLATs, so I started reading science and technology related passages. So
Right.
I read so much of science and technology related passage in the last 7 years that this has become one of my favorite genres.
So if I were to summarize, from everything that he told us, if one is preparing for English language section, one is supposed to pay attention to three things. One is vocabulary because it helps them decode the passage. Their comprehension becomes good. Second is variety. They should read a variety of passages, including economics, science and tech, everything. And they need to identify which genre is something they are not good at, and they need to work on it. And can there be anything about around questions and eliminating options?
Sir, the last point which you mentioned, that they should they need to identify the most challenging genre.
Uh-huh.
I think that is quite easy if we can just review our last mock.
Exactly.
So after every mock, students should see where they actually committed the blunders. They should set a target of that specific genre where they actually did blunders, and they can go ahead with the entire week. Suppose this week I got passage around psychology, and most of my questions went wrong in that specific genre. So entire week I'll read at least 2 to 3 articles every day around psychology for the entire week.
Right.
That is a good strategy.
It is actually. Okay. So, yes, these were all the
Sir,
questions
now
I had.
it's my turn.
Okay.
Sir, now I have a question, and I think in almost all my classes I see student asking the same question. So this is the right time that you once and for all answer to this question so that I actually don't get trapped in the class again and again. So when should student focus on speed over accuracy?
So even I got this question a couple of times. Students keep asking this question to me. So basically, see, we have to understand it, that we have to accept it that speed is byproduct of comprehension. I mean, you cannot have speed without comprehension. And even if you try to have speed without comprehension, you end up marking wrong answers. So when you begin your preparation, it may be useful for those students who are planning to begin their preparation now, when CLAT is 4 to 5 months away. So when you begin your preparation, you're always supposed to, look for accuracy. Why? Because you will always find students who are ahead in terms of preparation than you, right? So you should never try to copy those students, that if they are attempting 18 or 19 or 20 questions, you should be able to attempt 18, 19 or 20 questions as they do. It shouldn't be your target. Your target or your competition should be with yourself. And you should always try to beat yourself, not others. Because if you try to beat yourself, you'll always come out as better version of yourself, right? So initially, when you begin your preparation, you're supposed to work on your accuracy part.
Okay.
And slowly and gradually, you'll see that, so your mind will tell you that you can now speed up. Because it happens, your gut feeling tells you that you don't need to slow down. You have already read a lot of things and you are prepared. So you naturally, speed up when you read.
All right.
And you don't have to do it intentionally. But yes, when you approach the actual exam, obviously the intensity of mocks get high, and it'll automatically tell you to speed up. I have seen this cycle repeating for over 7 to 8 years now. They always begin with slow reading, but eventually they learn to catch up. So right now, if you're somebody who's beginning with the preparation, pay attention to accuracy. And if you have been into the system for 3 to 4 months, it is right time. When it comes to practice, you should start timing your practice. I'm not telling you to give yourself 25 minutes as you do on actual exam, but yes, you should start timing your practice. You may begin with 35 minutes, and slowly and gradually you should bring the time down, and you should bring it down to 25 minutes. But you have to start timing your practice now. And if you're somebody who has already been into system for 8 to 9 months, I think it's high time that you learn to work, in 25 minutes, in 25 minutes time framework, because that is what you're supposed to do when you go to take the actual exam.
All right. Sir, since you're the virtuoso of critical reasoning, students literally look up to you when it comes to getting conceptual understanding for inferences, conclusions, assumptions. So I have a question for you. What is the difference between conclusion and inference?
Ma'am, conclusion is a broad term. There are some question stems where, you're asked which of the following can be concluded from the passage. Now, it is you who has to conclude. Now, the author is not asking about what author is trying to conclude. The author says which of the following can be concluded. That means it is you. And you are reader. Right? If reader has to conclude, it has to be inference. So conclusion is a broad term that includes, both main idea, because if author tries to conclude something, that is the opinion in the passage. And sometimes author calls inference a conclusion.
Oh.
So it's a broad term. Now you have to read the question stem and identify if it has to come from reader's point of view or author's point of view. If it has to come from reader's point of view, it has to be an inference. If it has to come from author's point of view, it is the main idea.
Sir, I have another question, which is my question actually. I have seen some questions around inferences in English section as well. But in English section, we go with process of elimination. But there are some, at times I have seen the correct option is directly stated in the passage. And usually the meaning of inference is what? Implied meaning, hidden meaning, something which should be indirectly stated in the passage.
Right.
But at times I have seen that the fact is considered to be inference in English section. Is it the same thing in critical reasoning as well?
It happens sometimes. And, I always tell my students to not question the question.
Okay.
The thing is, you should learn to go with the flow. Because if it happens on actual exam, there's no one to, sort this problem for you. So you just have to...
That's a good takeaway, I must say that.
It is. So I always tell students not to question the question. What happens if, if you face a similar problem when you are in the middle of actual exam, there'll be no one to help you. Are you going to waste your time pondering over this thing? It might destroy your entire year's hard work.
Exactly.
Because you may be focused on other things. So instead, you should give yourself, two options. You either leave that question, or you just go with the option that is correct in terms of information given to you. And if that option happens to be present in the passage and no other option meets the criteria, why not go with that one?
That's a good trick, I must say that.
So never try to, fight the question paper. You should always adopt this strategy.
So the last but important question, that what is the biggest mistake which students commit in English section of CLAT?
Well, the first is the, assumption that they can easily get away with this section. They think that they have been, working on this particular section for so long. during the school days, that they can easily solve this section, when they appear for the exam. So first, the mistake is psychological. उनको ऐसा लगता है कि ऐसा भी हो जाएगा. And ये गलत है. Reason, over there they learn to use the language, and here it is all about skills, different types of skills, because a lot of things are not mentioned in the passage. You read between the lines, you try to identify an option which is aligned with the information given to you.
True that.
यार मेरे को एक बार बताइए मैम, ऑथर का प्रोफेशन कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे, या फिर सोर्स कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे कि ये न्यूज़पेपर से लिया हुआ है या फिर ये एक रिसर्च पेपर से एक्सट्रैक्ट लिया हुआ है.
I think we need to have analytical reading skill.
Analytical reading skills, because it's not just about source, it's not just about author's profession. Sometimes you also juggle with options, where you are able to eliminate two options and आप दो options के बीच में फंस रहे हो. You need to identify कि यार इस option में ये दे रखा है, but this was something that was not aligned.
But sir, which skill is required here?
I think अगर हम लोग यहाँ पे देखें तो आपको infer करना आना चाहिए. You should be able to infer from the information given to you. So unless you do that, आप कैसे बोल सकते हो कि ये चीज सही है? So I think this is the fundamental difference between English language at school and English language at CLAT level.
True that.
So their assumption that they'll be able to get away with this section easily is not right.
True that. I agree with you.
Right.
So in a nutshell, sir, what do you think should be the two takeaways from this discussion?
No, I think one takeaway is that every option should be traceable to the passage.
True that.
Option को extrapolate अगर करने की जरूरत पड़ रही है, that's not the right option. So I think that's the first thing, and उसके बाद फिर second is how you prepare for this exam. There are some things that are non-negotiable. You need to improve your comprehension, and there is a set pattern how you work towards accuracy and speed. So yeah, there are a couple of things जिसके ऊपर आपका focus होना चाहिए. Genres of the passages, vocabulary. Initially आपको accuracy को देखना होता है. You cannot just directly go after speed.
Okay.
And time bound manner, and then after a certain point in time you have to time your practice. So these were a couple of takeaways जो इस discussion से मुझे समझ में आया. Students को ध्यान देना चाहिए.
Good takeaways. Student, I hope you must have written all these takeaways.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed this session where I actually, I actually threw a lot of questions at Shazli ma'am, and she tried her best to answer all those questions for all of you. We'll try to bring more such videos for you. So stay tuned to our channel and hit the like button to this particular video if you liked it, and subscribe to our channel.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I
Thank you so
too
much.
have learned a lot of things from you today.
Thank you,
I'll definitely communicate the same thing to my students as well.
Right. Thank you.